Okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how Montessori happened to me when before I became a Montessorian, I was working for the pharmaceutical industry. So I was in pharma management, okay, and I was doing marketing. And somewhere where it was not giving me that joy, the spark that I am contributing to the society as well. You know what I'm doing every day? I'm just going on a desk job and I am creating strategies and all of that.
Yeah.
Still not feeling that joyfulness, you see. Every day you
Hmm.
want to go to work kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Took a break from work and of course, in the meantime, got pregnant as well, got married, got pregnant. And then when I had an idea in my belly, I was like, I want this child to have some different kind of school, etc. And my niece back then was going to a Montessori school in England, in
Oh,
London.
how lovely. Okay.
Montessori word a lot, but I didn't know nothing about Montessori. Okay, so I said, okay, start reading about her work and let's. So that's how I started. I slowly started reading about her work, following tutorials all across the globe. I got myself a book of Montessori from the start for 0 to 3 years. So till then, I was practicing Montessori at home with my. When she was 2 years old, I felt she needed to get out of the home environment. So,
Right.
uh, coincidentally, I just went across. There was this school across my house in Gurgaon, and I went there to just search, like, do you have enrollments open for your children? So they said, yeah, but we also have enrollments open for teacher training.
And I remember you messaging me that same day, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I said, oh, really? And what was this program? Oh, why don't you come? And it is an amazing program run by IMTC Bangalore. Why don't you join? I
Hmm.
said, okay, perfect. So along with your child, you can join. And believe you me, when I joined IMTC, I think this was the first time the trainer said, I have seen a mother cry. Immediately, Amira was joining school in the same building. So she was going to school, a Montessori school, and or a Montessori environment, and I joined IMTC training Gurgaon. So that's how the journey began. So the is for me, I would say that. Sometimes when
Right.
you have this strong calling, it all just falls in place.
Absolutely. It's
I
like the universe's divine timing, no?
truly believe in the magic of the universe
Yeah.
will present you with what you are actually meant to do with your life.
Absolutely.
Just follow your instincts.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful. And I think we are right on time. It's almost 6. So let's officially begin. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and for all those who are going to join in after some time. So excited to be here amongst all your amazing parents. This is going to be a beautiful webinar led by Neha Kotecha Rao, and she is amazing. She's a Montessori coach, a very passionate educator, and she's going to talk to us about creating this Montessori roadmap, which is so focused on child-led learning. So Neha, thank you so much for coming in, and we're so excited to learn from you. Before we start, big warm welcome to all of you. And if you guys have any questions while the webinar is on, you can put them in the chat box. So I'm going to have one eye on the chat box, and we can take all the questions towards the end. I would also request all of you to stay on mute, and of course keep your videos on, so it gives us a feeling that we're all actually meeting together. So yeah, okay, Neha, all over to you. Thank you so much, and so excited.
Okay, thank you so much, Amrita, for that warm welcome. Firstly, I'd like to thank all the parents who have signed up for this webinar, taking time out on a and wanting to be so interested in what Montessori is all about, you know. So I am guessing that there are a lot of parents here or mums to be. I can see a few dads also,
Which is
and
amazing.
parents are welcome because they too play a role in Montessori. And of course, fellow Montessorians, if you're there out there, hello, hi, warm welcome, and all the educators as well. Okay. So, before we begin, I would like to share with you as to what Ananda, how Ananda happened, okay? And you must have seen a little bit of my introduction, but let me still share with you. So during this, I am working with a school here in Mumbai. During this pandemic, I realized that, children are stuck at home and parents are in this dilemma that oh my God, my preschooler has to be in front of the screen. And my child just doesn't want to sit. This 3-year-old, 4-year-old doesn't want to sit on the screen and doesn't want to learn. So, what next? I was thinking to myself, how can I help these parents, to bring Montessori at home? The way I started through a book. But of course, when you are there, trained, having experience, then you can definitely share how you can bring Montessori home as a mentor and a guide out there who are wanting to bring Montessori at home. Apart from that, yes, I'm a full-time Montessori directress with a school in Bandra. I work with children, I work with parents, and every day trying to spread the magic of Montessori. Okay. So feel free to put in your questions there in the chat box, and I'll try my best to answer those.
Yeah, we can in fact have like 15 minutes at the end of the session for the Q&A.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Shweta, I will need you to, just confirm that.
Yes. Yes, we can. We can.
Yes.
Priya, if you can just give us a go ahead in the chat, if you're able to see, and if some of the participants can also let us know if they can see the presentation. Okay. Yes. Yes. You're good. You're good.
Perfect. All right. So Amrita came to me and she said, let's do something for the mums. And I said, why not?
Really? Wow. I've never met someone who done eat sugar. Only heard about it. They all live in this godless place called Santa Monica.
Requesting everybody to put yourself on mute, please.
Past life, I would inhale a cabbage plate.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So what's happening is that today with social media and with the advent of internet, a lot of buzz is going on around in the Montessori world, all right? And parents are getting bombarded with a lot of impressions of what is not. So today I am going to, through this conversation, try to bring some light upon what actually Montessori is. Montessori, a lot of parents think Montessori is taking those activities and putting them on those beautiful shelves and making those beautiful shelfies, and or getting overwhelmed with the number of activities which are happening out there. While that is a small part of Montessori, that is not the So, what is Montessori? Montessori is actually an educational system or researched by Dr. Montessori over a period of 30 years or more than 30 years. And before she could actually even call it a method. Yeah, she was a doctor who through scientific observation came about at the center of learning. Okay, so Montessori is not just about creating that environment with uh, activities or materials or shelves. It is much, much more than that. Okay. And as parents, as educators, we play a very important role in the education of our child, because primarily, we are the first educators for our children, and they are with us uh, 12 hours, or let's say if they were 12 hours, they are awake and with us. So we are the primary educators. So whether you're a mom who is wanting to practice Montessori at home, or you just want to be there for your child from developmental point of view, she said it is the role of the adult to prepare herself spiritually to receive the child. you know it's like how when you are going to expect, when you're pregnant and you're going to have this baby, and you prepare your body, you prepare yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually. Similarly, even in the Montessori method, when you're educating this child, the role of the adult, whether it's the parent or the educator, is to prepare herself mentally and spiritually. Okay? So, what do I mean by that? By that, I mean that she laid out a few principles. Okay? What she said was that, yes, the prepared environment, which is your shelves and your materials and your activities. Then there is your child, for whom you're going to lay out a few principles of which we will speak about going forward. And then there is you. So it's almost like a triangle. Yeah. So it's the adult, the prepared environment, and the child. Today, what we are going to focus upon is how you can support growth and development of your child. So, as a prepared adult, our role, or as a parent, is to firstly make time, connect, and support. Okay, equip ourselves with what actually Montessori learning is about. Then go about preparing the environment, trying to make those beautiful shells and activities. Interested in, follow your child, give the freedom, and trust that the method works. Trust that the child is capable of learning and absorbing and working towards becoming the man, the adult. Okay? So, what she said was, when she was studying, the children, the development of the child, she said, we can put them into 4 planes. Okay, from 0 to 6 years, that is the stage of infancy. Then you have childhood, which is 6 to 12 years. Then you have adolescence, which is 12 to 18 years, and 18 to 24. Let's believe you me, she didn't only work for preschoolers, she also did work for children who were older than 6-year-olds. Okay, so there are schools out there in the world where you have children going to a Montessori elementary schools, Montessori Earth Kinder Pro 18-year-olds. But what we are going to focus on is our preschool children, our 0 to 6-year-olds, as we would call it. Okay. So what she said was that at each plane of development, the child is almost like this. She compared it to the life cycle of a butterfly. So, there's an egg stage, and then there is the caterpillar, then there is the cocoon, and then there is a beautiful butterfly. There is the infancy birth stage, then there is the childhood stage, then adolescence, and then maturity. Okay. And at each of these stages, the needs of your child and the characteristics of your child are very different. So at the first plane, the characteristics and the needs would be very different compared to the second plane. Okay, because it's almost like you may not recognize this child. Like, for example, I have my own. I saw her from 0 to, or rather from birth to 6, and now what she's at 8, and I'm sure even Amrita will agree. You feel like, oh, the child is reborn almost. She's a different
Totally.
child.
Yeah.
Because developmentally, intellectually, the child is in a different stage altogether. In the first plane, the characteristics of the children are very different compared to the second plane. So I'm going to share with you what exactly and why exactly, why is it important for a parent to understand the characteristics and needs of the child in the first plane is so that you are able to create a learning environment for your child in your house based on those characteristics and needs of the child. Okay, whether you're planning to homeschool your child, whether you're planning to send your child to a Montessori environment, it is important for a parent to know these, because in the parent can support the child in the right manner. Okay, because that is our role, to support and be there for the child according to the characteristics and needs of the child, which is inherent to the child, not what we think the child needs because of our prejudices and what we feel, but what actually the child's need is at that point in time, according to what Dr. Montessori says. Okay, so what she said was that, which also we see, right? From the time the child is born, they have the needs of movement. So as the newborn is born and out, yay, he's out from that womb. He or she can move his hands, blink eyes, touching, feeling everything. So the child is wanting to move. Movement is inherent to the child. This child cannot sit still. Okay, the child from 0 to 6 years. That's why your 3-year-old cannot sit still, in front of the screen trying to receive that lesson. Of the child, the child needs to move to learn. For example, we have a lot of children in our environment where they will take up one activity, sit down, maybe do it briefly for 30 seconds, go back, dash out, come back to the work, again continue working. So in a Montessori environment, the children are not made to sit on tables and chairs, or they're not stuck behind tables and chairs. They are given the freedom to work when they want to work. So movement is a very important characteristic or a need of this child from 0 to 6 years. And as parents, what we can do is, if you have a younger child who's from 0 to 3 years, you provide them an environment where you're giving them the freedom to move. So don't let them be. I have been guilty of picking up my child and putting my child, on this high chair and feeding my child. But I wouldn't want to do in this traditional walker and wanting to make my child walk. But that is not what Dr. Montessori said. He said you give them freedom to put them on the floor, let them have free movement, because that will help in their, sensorial development, and all these neurons which are there will form in a much faster manner. So you have to give them that freedom. Hence, you do not see, I will not force my 5-year-old to sit still and work, moving side to side and continue doing language or math problem. It's absolutely fine. My expectation is not for them to sit still. Okay. And you have to provide opportunities even in your home environment for the child for a lot of movement. All right. Because your child is going to go from a stage of not moving at all, that is being in your arms, to running full speed where you'll have to try to catch them. Okay. So provide a lot of opportunities for movement. Here for a 0 to 6-year-old is language. All right. So she said, as parents, you have to provide an environment which is extremely rich in language, right? So you have to constantly speak with your child. Don't give them gadgets, please. Gadgets don't speak back. iPads don't speak back. TV doesn't speak back. It is we who are having conversations with the children. You know, in the pandemic, I think one of the things that most of the educators still are is that conversations. Who is my child going to speak with? Because if one parent is busy and or both the parents are working, or the mother is in the kitchen and the father is busy working from home, what is the may have 2 or 3 siblings, but what about language? You know, where is my child going to have so many conversations? You know, so let's not keep our children uh, on iPads, on television, all of that, because if you want them to grab language, because this is a sensitive period, this is the time where you have to have an environment which is rich in language. You have to provide storybooks. You have to read stories. You have to, even when you're picking up this small child, you know, who's at the stage of diapering, your 6-month-old, you say, you know, okay, now I'm going to pick you up to put a diaper on, you know. So you're constantly having conversations with your child, and then you will not see any, delays. You have, you know, parents coming in and saying, oh, my 2.5-year-old is not speaking. Then I ask them, can you go back and revisit, you know, how much conversation are you having as a parent with your child out there? Or is your, so some of them do stand guilty. They say, yes, we are giving them too much of media, you know, but this is the home situation. But let's provide an environment rich in language, because that is the need of your child. Okay, and provide them opportunities of being independent. Now, happened is that we see that children have become more and more dependent on us for all the work, right from setting the table. If he's a 4 or 5 or she's a 4 or 5-year-old, you know, we are doing everything for them. Whereas the child is very much capable of becoming independent and looking after themselves and their home environment and the society. It begins with supporting your child to becoming independent, being able to hold that glass of milk or glass of water when you're weaning your child, independence in terms of feeding themselves, independence in terms of dressing themselves, independence in terms of setting out the table when they're a little older, independence in terms of looking care of the environment, because the child is then feeling value and worthiness. See the amount of self-confidence the child dependent, you know. I am not saying independence does not mean that, oh, I have abandoned you and I am not there for you. That is different. I'm not asking you to abandon your child, but I'm saying support your child with, give them that space to become independent. Let them choose. Give them that choice. Oh, you want to wear this t-shirt or this t-shirt? Let them make that choice. Let them make that decision. Let them become that independent, because that is how they will learn to become self-confident. Decision making, such a small thing. You know, we say, oh, now my child requires, going forward at the age of 14, 15, we need to put them in classes where they can have decision making and, you know, all of that. But it starts now, 0 to 6, as small as, would you like to wear this t-shirt or this t-shirt? You're giving that choice. You're letting the child think independently, not only work independently. Okay. What else she said? I'm sure a lot of our friends who are here, Montessori method, they must have heard absorbent mind, you know. It's such a Montessori key term, the absorbent mind. So what did she mean by that? By that, Dr. Montessori said that the child's intelligence or the child's mind is like a sponge. Okay. And like a sponge can take in good things and bad things. As parents, it's up to you, a child in your environment. Okay. Because the child is going to absorb everything that you offer. right from how you're going to speak to your child, how you're going to treat your child, what kind of prejudices you're going to sort of set for your child, you know, what kind of, you know, language you speak, how you talk, how you walk, you know, they're constantly learning from you. And whatever they learn in this period from 0 to 6 years stays for life. And the ease with which they learn in this 0 to 6 years, because the mind is like a sponge, it all stays for life. You do not have to work hard at all to worry about whether my child is going to learn to write or read, whether my child is going to learn to do mathematics. No. Your job, when they are ready, will absorb, will learn, because they have the absorbent mind. Okay. She also spoke about sensitive periods, which I will share with you in a little while, and why you as a parent should know about sensitive periods also, I will take you through. And of course, we all know children in this stage learn through their hands and senses, you know. That's why you have the materials, do a lot of practical exercises at home, learn by doing, learn by manipulating the material. They do not learn through, you know, a lot of worksheets, if I may say so. They learn when they experience through their hands and senses. And that senses also means your auditory sense, your visual sense, your tactile sense. So for each and every sense that was there, we have materials in the environment. That does to have all of those materials, definitely not. We can always DIY those materials. It is not possible for you to buy and keep all those materials at home. No, in a casa, in a school, yes. In a homeschooling environment, parents can DIY a lot of materials which are there in the Montessori environment. Okay. And of course, you prepare the environment or the child from 2.5 to 6 years, the home, which is called the casa. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, those who are choosing to homeschool, it's your homeschooling environment. Okay, so this is what is required for a child from 0 to 6 years: freedom to move, a language-rich environment, opportunities to become independent. And how does all that happen? It happens through, during this stage from 0 to 6 years, Dr. Montessori said this, you know. So these are nothing but periods from birth up till 6 years. Your child is having a sensitivity towards certain things like, okay, let's say language, for example. Okay, now she said from the time the child is born up to 6 years, your child is sensitive to absorbing language. You start listening to the right kind of music, right? I think a lot of moms out here would resonate with me. They must have listened to a lot of spiritual music. But you do not have to stop after birth. You have to continue doing that. You have to continue giving that, because your child is going to absorb it. The sponge in their mind is going to absorb it, okay? Also, the way we speak with our children, the tone we speak with our children. As a Montessori directress, when I'm working, I'm so mindful about even speaking a little louder. The child will come back and tell me, "But Miss Neha, you are talking so loudly in the environment. Why am I not allowed to talk loudly? You tell us to speak softly," you know. So they are observing you, they are looking at you at all the times. And all the more reason for us as parents to be mindful of how we are around our children. Environment that we are providing to our children. So coming back to language, now what she said is that when it comes to writing and reading, why I would like to share this is because I get a lot of these questions like, when is my child going to start reading, and when is my child going to start writing? And I often go back to tell them, and I say that, well, in our environment, we start offering language in our classroom in form of oral activities and oral language skills. But when it comes to reading and writing, we will start offering activities when we see the child is ready, So it will completely depend upon the readiness of the child. Now, that may happen around maybe, 3 years, 2.5 years, is able to recognize that, oh, words are made up of sounds. Then I will say, yeah, now my child is ready for sandpaper letters, or my child is ready for further activities for language. I am not going to offer letters or sounds just because I think that she is 2 years old and she is ready. Please understand that the readiness of the child, even in the home environment, you cannot enforce upon the child at the age of 1.5 to expect to start writing or reading and all. Yeah, you prepare the child. There are a lot of activities that you can do. They are called preparatory activities, which will move towards language, which will move towards, a lot of literacy learning or academic learning. But before that, there is so much more in terms of refining their gross motor skills, and that's something that you work with your child in predominantly before you rush them into reading and writing and numbers and academics and so on and so forth. Because once you have given those preparatory activities, which help in the refinement of their gross motor skills and fine motor skills, believe you me, naturally and developmentally, your child will write. You are not going to have the need to force your child to. At 2, your child is developmentally, not forget physically, not even intellectually, your child is not ready. And this is what she studied, and a lot of educators do agree with her now, and they do say that the sensitive period, the children learn best during their sensitive periods. So follow your child, see what is the sensitive period that is going on, and then offer the activities. You cannot expect your 2-year-old to do things like addition, and there are certain things which I do. I sometimes really feel like when I look at social media posts, I feel like, okay, you want your 3-year-old to do addition when your child should actually be working towards other skills which are preparing them towards those like mathematics and language, While at the same time, we are parents that this sensitive period, why do we call it sensitive? Because it is a window of opportunity for you to offer that particular skill to your child. Okay, so let's see if she said that reading for your child. Now, when I say reading, of course, you start offering a lot of activities for reading, like sandpaper letters, etc. But reading typically comes in a Montessori environment after the child has exploded into writing. We say explosion into writing. I have not taught the child. The child taught herself. I will share children in the environment who, because they have done so many activities which prepare them in terms of their fine motor skills, gross motor skills, and when they see another child in the environment, which is lower, because we have mixed age classrooms, right? So if they see another child who is writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, And I have offered numerals to that child because the child was roughly about 4 years old. Yeah, but I have never forced the child, believe you me, that you take this pencil and you sit down on the activity. While playing with the crayon, suddenly the child comes running to me. Miss Neha, I wrote one on my own, on my own, I wrote one. The joy, that's called an explosion into writing. The joy, the child is saying, I taught myself to write. And imagine the joyful way in the way that child has learned as compared to you giving sleeping line, standing line, write one every. It's very different. Children will learn. Children teach themselves to read as long as you provide the right environment. Your job as a parent, as an educator, is to offer. The child will learn based on the child's interest. Okay, you really have to follow your child. So, coming back to my, shelfies. Does the child learn only only through shelf work? No. We have seen in the environment, and I have seen the growth of my own child at home. They learn through observation, when they see other children at work, when they see their mama and papa at work, when they see their mama and papa writing instead of just typing away on the computer. When they see their parents or their mama maybe cook something in the kitchen, and they look so interested. Oh, mama, they look interested in that work in the kitchen, isn't it? Give them those opportunities. They learn to become independent when you give them a lot of practical life activities, as we call it in Montessori. Giving them the opportunity to do household chores. Are they going to do household chores? Is it important for their development? Yes, very much. Because it will help them become the man, the adult. Tomorrow they have to grow up. They have to become independent. And preparing them for academics. We are preparing them for the holistic development of the child, isn't it? We are not looking only at the physical, emotional, academic. We are looking at the spiritual development of the child. So all across, it's not just about shelf work. It's not just about what activities I have put in there. There's so much more. Take your child out to play. Take them on nature walks. Take them on hikes. Take them on treks. Connect the outside world with education for older children from 6 to 12. She said, you take them outside. When they see outside, let's say they see a snake, come back, give them books, then take them through, what is it all about, a leopard or a snake and so on and so forth. Don't just keep bombarding them with concepts by keeping them locked in your house. You have to take them out. They learn through play. They learn through going out. Is the work of the child, she said, that's why in the environment, very often you will not tell us we don't say the child is playing. We say the child is working, because the child is working towards her own development. I, as an educator and as an adult, is there just to support the child, whereas the child is working himself or herself. That's why we call it work and we don't say play. Okay. They learn through language, which I've already said. They learn through becoming independent. Okay. Taking care of themselves, taking care of the environment, and then learning from taking care of the society by and large. So what she said was that, so what is my role as an educator, or what is your role as a parent? Now that children are at home all the time, or if you're planning to homeschool your child, our care of the child should be governed not by the desire I want you to learn ABCD, I want you to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want you to learn addition, I want you to learn subtraction, I want you to learn about the universe, I want you to learn about, no. It is from the perspective of, always keeping burning within them that light which is called intelligence. Whether your child is like this young one at 2, whose eyes are sparkling looking at that butterfly, if your child is looking at math at 8, at 10, with the same awe, yourself a pat on the back. That's what she meant. Keep that light burning in that child so that the child learns with a lot of joy and not a lot of force. And as parents, we need to decide what is it that we want to give to our child? What is the learning environment I want to offer to my child? Yeah. So as parents, what you need to do is you need to observe the child. When I say observe the child, what I mean is do not do anything. Just sit down in one corner, have your cup of tea, and just look at your children. Just that this is what we do as educators in our environment. I mean, of course, I do my role of what I need to do, but a lot of the time, Dr. Montessori herself came up with the method through observation, and observation is such a core concept which is a part of Montessori that I could speak for another 1 hour on just observation. Because it's a topic all by itself. So she said, look at what is it that your child wants to do. You have put in activities over there. Is your child choosing that activity? Is your child really interested in activity? Is your child repeating that activity? Is your child concentrating while doing that activity? Once you've observed your child, it will let you know how it is that you have to prepare those shelves. Understand, it starts from there. It starts from your child. It doesn't start from your child. This is what I'm trying to tell you. It starts from observing your child, following the interest. I want to give
Yes.
So, another aspect which she said was follow your child. What does follow your child mean? Literally, what does it mean? So I may think sometimes that my child is ready for math because my child is 3.5 or 4 and so on and so forth. Oh my God, my numbers not knowing what quantity is, and I am in this haste. But is the child, maybe the child is busy consolidating language at that time. Maybe the child is busy working on writing. Maybe the child is busy really trying to consolidate their language or maybe their sensorial learnings. What is the haste? Really see what is the need of that child, and you have to thus follow the child. When she said by respect with the child, if you put that activity on the shelf, and if the child says, or I've offered it to the child, and the child says, no, Miss Neha, not today. What do I say? No, you have to do it because I want you to do it. No, I will not. I will respect when my child says, no, I do not want to work with that presentation today, or I do not want to work with that material today. But the child chooses to work some other material. That is fine. I have to respect the work of the child. I'll share an example with you. There was this child who came to me with a lot of joy. She had this booklet. So she was this nearly 6-year-old. Okay, so she was already writing. And she came to me. She made this beautiful booklet on I Love the Earth booklet, and there were various pages in the booklet which said, I want to save the earth by, recycling. I want to save the earth, on and so forth. And she had a beautiful booklet. So she had expressed herself, okay? And she had expressed this connection with the earth. And she brought that booklet with me. Now, typically what will happen? But you know what she'd done? Her spelling everywhere for earth was ERTH. What would I do as a parent or as an educator? The spelling of earth is EARTH. Should I be correcting my child at that very moment? What do you think is going to happen to that child? She has actually expressed herself so beautifully as to how she wants to protect the earth. She feels this connection with the earth. All she has done is written the spelling of earth wrong. I have to respect my child's work. I am not going to correct my child at that moment. And I'm not going to say earth means EARTH. I am going to appreciate the work of the child because there is so much more in that booklet. But yes, on another day, when the time is right, I will offer to the child some help where she knows, maybe through a book, through a storybook where the spelling of earth is there. So I will consciously not bring it to her, oh, you don't know the spelling of earth. How many times I have taught you earth is EARTH. That means you're not respecting the work of the child. What do you think is going to happen to the confidence of the child when you do that? And then we say my child is not an independent up for success. You're setting them up for failure when you do that to your child. And Montessori said, set your child up for success because you want to make them confident learners. You want to make them independent learners. You want to make them learners of the world. You want to make them, peaceful learners. So that is what I mean by respect your child. Respect your child's choices. Give them that freedom. Give them that freedom to tell you, express themselves. Give them that freedom to choose. Dramas, who cares? It's all right. You are going to you go to school in a school less, really need it for the child. And to work or not work in the work, but at the same time, I will set certain ground rules and I will tell my child, you cannot disturb anybody else. Okay, today you've chosen to observe the classroom, I'm fine. You do not want to work with the materials, I'm okay. But the freedom within limit is you observe the classroom, but you will not disturb limit to my child. For example, in the home environment, sometimes you say, my child just doesn't listen. Again, this is a topic which I can talk in for hours, but I'll give you an example at home. I tell my daughter that you need to eat food on the table. You have the freedom to eat how much ever you want. You want to eat X number, what you want to eat, that's fine. But your limit is you will eat it on the table. You will not take it in your room. I am not going to walk around with you in the house and feed you. That is my boundary. That is the limit I set for you. So give them that freedom, but also do that boundary setting and be consistent, because then that just makes the child more respectful towards themselves and also towards their home environment. A child who has been given complete freedom and not given those limits, those ground, as we call them, limit setting, thrive somewhere. So give them freedom, but give them freedom within limits. Of course, give them opportunities to become independent. Most importantly, keep that light burning by preparing yourself. Something that you are doing right now, you're attending the webinar because you are preparing yourself. You want to be there for your child. You want to be wanting to understand what it is, what are the needs of the child, how can I support my child in the learning and development, drop those prejudices, equip yourself as to how to offer that activity, equip yourself that how can I support my child best in her learning and development so that she can learn with joy and not with pain. And then you prepare the environment, then you prepare your beautiful shelfie, and then you see the perspective from which you're preparing that shelfie for your child. Okay, so we must as parents remember to keep that light. So Amrita will also agree. We do beautiful, beautiful materials and shelfies. That is not what I'm asking
Yeah.
from homeschoolers or parents who want to supplement their home with the Montessori method. I would say you just need to simplify your home. That's it. Whether you're offering that shelf, which is something like this, a DIY, or you do not need to have, all the fancy stuff out there. Yes, if you can, why not? Don't get overwhelmed. If you can, offer the Montessori materials to your child while you're homeschooling, great. If not, prepare DIY materials. There are so many ways in which you can DIY a lot of the Montessori materials, especially in the area of language, especially in the area of practical life, especially in the area of, human culture. You can do it. What you need to do is you need to set up an orderly environment. Offer them limited choices. Don't overwhelm them with the at one go. Give limited choices. Keep an orderly environment. Keep your activities at eye level. Sort them out. Don't keep everything in bins, because then the child, it's not in an orderly fashion. The child has a very strong sensitivity to sense of order. So when you keep it in an orderly fashion, you're giving that child that freedom to go independently, pick up the work, put it back. If you put it all in bins, the child is naturally going to have to scavenge everything out of those bins and work. And of course, when you give it, it's all going to go into a mess. So offer them limited choices and everything at the level of the child. And of course, all your extra material, you store it inside. Again, this is a topic which I can go on and on. I'm just giving you a snapshot of how you can offer a prepared environment in a very, like, I'm giving you just like a trailer. You want to know more, then you can of course connect with me, and I can help you with how you can prepare an environment at home. Yeah. When we look at these materials or these activities, Montessori said that a material is meeting, it has to be a purposeful activity. Okay. It has to be directed towards the child. It has to have hands-on learning. It has to be done independently. It should aid in the independence of the child. It involves all the senses: hands, eyes. For example, you have this toy over here by Shumee. It meets all the criteria. It's got shapes. It's got it's an isolated concept of shapes. It is directed towards the child. It's hands-on. It can be independently done by the child. There is a control of error, because if you put a star in a circle, it will not fit. If you put a triangle in a circle, it will not fit. And as a parent, you do not have to keep correcting your child. It's an auto-correcting material. So you do not have to put your hand again and again and keep showing to the child, oh, this is where it fits. Oh, this. If the activity is purposeful and meeting all these criteria, okay? And it worked towards the concentration of the child. And last but not the least, I would say that before you decide whether you want to homeschool your child or you want to supplement the present learning of your child with Montessori, it all begins with you as parents. Like I said, the real preparation is of you as a parent, or me as an myself with the knowledge of Montessori and what it really meant to serve the child. As a parent, I will need to unlearn, because I learned in a traditional school. So I come with these preconceived methods of doing things or baggage of doing things. So you'll need to unlearn, relearn, because you're going to relearn from the perspective of Montessori. Perhaps also along the line, reparent. When I say follow the child, when I say respect the child, give freedom within limits. So perhaps also reparent, read a lot of Montessori books, enroll in workshops like you did right now in this webinar, enroll in equipping yourself and training yourself. There are a lot of training programs out there where it's not only just for educators like me, it's also for parents who are interested in early childhood development, the Montessori way. Of course, then you have coaches who help you, take you how to bring Montessori home or how to support your child in Montessori way. Observe your child, reflect. What is it that you really want for your child? Connect, and of course, serve your child so that your child grows into becoming the man, the adult, and really becoming this child. You know, she said she had done a lot of research during World War, and she said we are educating our children not just for academics, we are educating our children not just to go out, there and you know what is it to have all materialistic achievements, but we are actually educating our children for peace. So really decide what is it that we want for our child. Are we educating our child just for academics or for a holistic development, right from physical and emotional and spiritual, so that we have a child who is there to serve us and right. I hope you're there with me.
Yes, Neha, this is amazing. And we have like tons of questions coming in.
um, and last, let's stimulate life, leave it free. However, let it unfold itself. And that's the first duty of me as an educator and you as a parent. Please do. Sorry, now that you've met me, I would love to be in connection with all you parents and fellow Montessorians and educators out there, because we're just trying to keep the light of Montessori, the true magic of Montessori spreading. Okay, so I think I'll stop there and
And now we can like, Neha, but this was fantastic. It felt so therapeutic, if you may ask, and this is amazing. We have so many questions, but before that, can I request everybody to on the videos? We have so many participants, so thank you so much. And Neha, hats off to you, because I don't think anybody has left the webinar. Everyone has like, you know, everyone is there. So how about we just click a nice photo?
Hi, Amo. Hi, Neha.
Hi, Pragati. Hi. Hi. So, Priya, if you can just click a photo, like let's just, if you guys can, you know, keep your videos on. And we're seeing some children as well. How cute.
how sweet. She's already absorbing all that I am saying.
I know, I know.
I see a lot of familiar faces as well.
Yeah.
Out there, I
Yeah,
see.
so just, yeah, moms, if you can just like on the videos, then we can like click a nice couple of pictures and then we can get on to our Q&A. And if somebody wants to unmute and ask, you know, that's also great.
I see
But a lot of you have also written the questions on the chat box, so I can do that for you. So Priya, let us know when you want to click a photo. I think we are all pretty much ready. So everybody give that big Montessori smile.
Yes, for your child. For your inner child.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So I am ready for those questions.
Yeah.
And
all right. So Priya, are we good? Should we get on to the questions? All right. So Neha, I'm just going to ask you one by one everything that's in the chat box. We have about 5, 6, I think, questions.
okay. And I can share and I can speak. So if there's something which is repeating, or any questions which are repeating, we'll sort of maybe just skip those questions. If
Yes.
that
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so the first question is, could you share a few toys, like open-ended toys?
okay.
Yeah.
Could I share a few open-ended toys with you? So see, let me tell you that there are a few have which I find them very interesting, which also align with the Montessori method. Okay,
Sure.
remember they have these interesting toys like the walking wagon. They have the activity walker. They have the pickler. Although pickler is not Montessori, but
Right.
works towards movement. So these are the kind of materials or toys you can pick up out there from the market. In terms of other open, so then I showed you, right, the puzzles where they
Yeah.
in each and every shapes. Although I would not really call it open-ended, it's closed-ended because it is one shape fits in one.
Right.
That is something that is also available on Shumee. You have a lot of these peg balls, clutch balls, which are very good for the fine motor refinement, which is again available with them. You have puzzles which are open-ended. You have magna tiles which are open-ended. You have Lego which is open-ended. Activities which we do in the Montessori environment, like let's say for example the pink tower, where they have to place them from in gradation from small to big. But going forward, once the child has understood that what that dimension stands for, the child can explore further and make their explorations and their findings. So that also
Right.
turns into a toy eventually.
Sure.
So these are a few open-ended toys which you can
Awesome. Right.
or connect with what Montessori materials you would want. I
Sure.
can do with the right.
Absolutely. Yeah, a couple of them are. So I said the best way to reach out to you is on your IG handle, right?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can connect with me on Ananda Montessori, and I can help you with. If you are looking at Montessori materials, I can help you with certain materials which are specifically made for homeschooling, or I can help you with how to DIY that material, or I can also provide you sources if you're interested in buying
Right.
those materials. There are a lot of players in Bangalore who create these materials, even in Bombay. Even Amruta has a lot of these materials she creates, which are in line with Montessori.
Right. Okay, so we have one more interesting question. So the mama is saying, I have a 22-month-old baby who's pretty much stuck in the house since birth. So how can we build the young one's social skills given the whole situation right now?
Okay, so right now when you're still going down onto the playground, onto the park.
Yeah.
Yes, so give them those opportunities. When it comes to social skills, give them those opportunities to interact with those children. Even having a few friends, if not at all any, will help them towards their social development. Yeah, but also please understand that you as a parent has to be there for your child at this moment in time. I know it gets a bit overwhelming to be there for your child, on to even if you can take that shower in a break is like, oh my god,
Yeah.
not my child saying mom.
Yeah. It's like a spa feeling, right? That 5 minutes of shower break at that age. Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it is upon our parents where for their social skills we have to be available for them.
Right.
You have to be available for them 24/7. You engage them in independent activities, involve them in activities with you in the kitchen, have few play dates with few numbers of children, and that will work
Right.
towards.
Yeah.
And start practicing Montessori at home. Invite a few friends over; they'll get interested.
Yeah. In fact, that's what I did with my son when he was little. Like I used to invite all the children of the building,
Yeah.
and they used to enjoy, the Montessori activities together. And they were like different age groups. So I think it was like just a wonderful way to bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
What we try to do in the pandemic, even there are a lot of these. You have these small units where you invite 5, 6 friends of different age groups
Yeah.
from each other, because Montessori is a mixed age environment. It doesn't have to be a 2-year-old with a 2-year-old. It can be a 2-year-old with a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, because children learn best from children. So if they are in a mixed age setup, all the more better. It will work towards the social skills of your child.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, this one is interesting. So one mama is asking, are you allowed to nudge the child in an area of interest?
So see, what I would do is that, let's say for example, my own daughter, I'll give you an example, okay?
Sure.
I want my daughter to enjoy singing and learning to play the piano, because I feel I didn't get an opportunity to learn it.
Mm.
To do something you haven't done it. Okay. So what I would do is, yes, I would make this opportunity for my child to enroll in a singing lesson or a piano lesson. And I will observe my child. How is the child receiving that? Is my child really interested? Is my child joyfully picking up the piano and repeating the practice the teacher has asked to do? Or am I having to get behind my child every day saying, practice the piano, I've told you? That's different. Don't do it because don't force your child to do something because you want your child to do it. Observe whether your child is interested in it.
Right.
That goes even with academics. Whether it's to do with mathematics, whether it's to do with reading, whether it's reading a book. You can't get on with your child saying every day, read a book, read a book, read a book, read a book. You as a parent, make sure from the offer them a learning environment where you're reading a book. If you read a book to your child right from the time your child is born, believe you me, your 4 or 5-year-old will want to read a book independently, because these always see for the last 4 years, mama reading. I want to read a mama book, my daughter tells me. I want to be able to read a mama book because you've been reading all the time. So
Yeah.
you make sure you are keeping it live in the environment.
Okay.
And then follow your child.
Yeah. And I think Montessori says that, right? Like
Child
we are the biggest imitators for the children, right? I think that's a Montessori quote, right?
Even writing for that matter, like sadly because of digitization, we are constantly on our
Typing.
iPads, phones. But as educators, what we do in our environment, we do not stand at the laptop so much. We are actually making notes. We are observing our child and writing because we want it to be live in the environment. Because when the child looks at me writing, they may want to write too. When the child looks at my 4-year-old or my 6-year-old writing on her banded paper, she goes and she says, Auntie, I want to try to write that too. And I can do it, I know. But for that, I need to do sandpaper letters,
Right.
So keep it live, I would say. Anything that you want to nudge your child in, make sure you keep it live.
Right.
See whether your child is learning it joyfully, academic, non-academic, any activity. And that's what you call following the child.
Right. So one more connecting question by another mama, but like it's coming, through a nice sequence. One mama is asking, observing the child can also be called as discovering your child?
Yes, of course. Not only discovering your child, discovering yourself, my dear.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When
I love that question though. I think she's answered her own question, right?
That's what Dr. Montessori did. She came up with this method through 30 years of observation. What is the true nature of the child? And what is it that my child wants at that age? So you as a parent, when you're observing, when you're sitting there, it's going to help you with the discoveries of what is it that your child is actually wanting or your child is interested in. whether it's an activity or whether it's an area of learning, whether my child is interested in science or science experiments, or whether my child is interested in geography, or whether my child is interested in mathematics. Only when you will observe, you will know.
Right.
Without on it, you have to make that time. I can talk about observation again for an hour, but every day, be mindful. Sit down with a cup of tea just for 10 minutes. Do nothing. Just look at your child without your prejudices. She would say, parents, educators, leave your colored glasses aside, leave your prejudices aside, and observe your child with an open mind, and the child will show you the way. It is true. My child in my environment, in our classroom, everyone's when I sit down for observation, and even in my home environment. As parents, we need to start doing that if we want to really, really follow the essence of Montessori.
Okay, now how does this work for a 4-month-old? One mama is asking.
Okay, so see, for a 4-month-old, movement is very important. Okay, because your child is going to the developmental stages, or the child is going to start. Let's look at it. Okay, from maybe leaving your arm, sitting to standing, then walking, and then running. So give a lot of opportunities for the child for movement. That means give a lot of floor time to your child. Do not restrict them to putting them in cribs. Give them a floor bed. Montessori said give them a floor bed. Expose them to, make them wear clothes which are comfortable, in which they can crawl, they can sit. Yeah, so even the kind of clothing you make you wear your child is important. You give them, there's something called very young toddlers at the child's level. So actually the child tries to, when you see the children trying to grab the chair and trying to stand up, or trying to grab the sofa and trying to stand up. So similarly, you have Montessori bars, which you put, and mirrors, which you put, because they see their reflection in the mirror. Montessori bars in the mirror. You give them toys or other activities or materials which are all working towards their grasping, So you give them these very interesting clutch balls, peg balls. So you can do that for your 4-month-old, which are there, which you can DIY at home. Expose them to that. And of course, language. Read to your child, even if she's a 4-month-old. Speak to your child the way you would to an adult. Talk to her all the time. Let's keep our mobile aside. Let's keep our TV aside. Let's keep our laptop aside. Yeah. And see the magic unfold. You will see your child show you develop at your 4-month-old in toddlerhood. Once they're a little older, yes, once they are about 1.5, 2 years old, we can involve them in many more activities which works towards their fine motor skills, and like peeling and cutting and all of that. But that's one little older, not for a 4-month.
Right. Okay. So we have one more question. How can we track the development of the child?
If you're saying in terms of the development,
I think she means probably the learning. Yeah.
Learning and developmental point of view. So we, as Montessorians, we have something called as record keeping, which we do in a school. So we really, after observation and after we've offered an activity, we make sure we record those things. And that is not only a tool for us to keep a track of where my child is right now, but it's also a tool for planning of what I have to offer my child going forward. So it's sort of like a record keeping. That's something that you would have to do as parents as well. When you start offering, let's say from 2.5, which is typically where we start our primary environment, you start offering the activities, you please have a journal where you do record keeping. Again, it's a topic by itself, to be very honest with you. We have templates, and we have various methods in which you have to do all of that. But this is how we do it in our environment. We do record keeping, which is there for tracking the development and also planning further where my child is going to develop.
Okay. Now, this one is an interesting question. what can we do when there are differences of opinion within the family? For example, how can we explain in-laws about Montessori if they're not open to the concept? Because, whenever she buys a Montessori-based toy or wooden toy, they speak negatively about it. So what's your take on that?
So I would say that do what is best for your child. You have to somewhere enroll your partner to begin with. Your partner, get yourself empowered, educate yourself, start believing that this method is for my child, and then start educating your partner, get him on board. Once he's on board, the whole family will be on board. Let me share my story. Okay, I started out, Anaira was in school at 2.5. At 4, my partner started, don't you think she's ready for big school? Don't you think she should go to a big school? Don't you think she may not get admission? Always that worry of, will my child get it? I kept saying, don't worry. When she is ready, she will be taken in, because she will then truly be ready for grade 1 or grade 6. If your child is in elementary, then grade 7. If your child is in primary, then grade 1. But you yourself get, be sure. You become sure of the method. You have faith in the method, and then automatically it will percolate in the family. Yes,
right.
It starts
so
from
beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. All right. One more interesting question. So one mama is saying, I'm always with my 15-month-old, and I do household chores, etc. But I do not get time to actually sit and observe him and jot them down to see the patterns in his behavior. So how would you suggest to do active observation in a case like this? And I feel we can kind of relate to what she's saying, because
Yes.
there's so much on our plate, especially as mothers. So what would you recommend then?
So see, I would say that observation is pretty meditative that way. We ourselves as Montessorians feel, sitting in this corner, just looking at the child work, and wow, this is like. So if you start 10 minutes every day, I'm sure you can dedicate that 10 minutes. Tell your partner to do dishes for a change. Yeah, don't do it yourself. Bring your partner into the kitchen. Become the bartan wala, at least for 10 minutes every day, and sit down. Start with 10 minutes. It'll make a world of a difference. Start from 10 minutes, and then you will automatically find the time to sit for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. 20 minutes is enough in a day.
Yeah.
More than enough.
That's practical. Wow. All right. Okay, so Arzu is asking, my 21-month-old rarely engages in independent play, always wants an adult to be around and stimulate. How can I encourage him to play independently? And I think, Neha, this is also, a concern for a lot of us, especially because of the situation we are in too, right?
Yes, I agree. So, how do you engage your 21-month-old
independently?
Without being? See, like I said, when I say you want to make them independent, it's not when you have to abandon them. Okay, you have to provide them opportunities to become independent, and then it will come. A 21-month-old cannot be independent for very long periods of time anyway, naturally.
Correct.
Okay, but when it comes to play, I would say involve the child in the activities which you are doing. For example, a 21-month-old is extremely interested in exercises of practical life. Okay, involve your child in chores. Trust me, you will see the magic happen. Your child is going to help you right from peeling to mess will be there. I promise you there will be a mess. So teach them to clear that mess. That's also part of the learning. Okay, but involve them in practical life activities to begin with. And you will see a world of a difference. In fact, you'll feel there's a little helper there. There are so many times now, my 6-year-old, who was then a 2.5-year-old, used to help me with doing, just simple things like loading the laundry.
Yeah.
Or loading the refrigerator with vegetables, or helping me put up my laundry, and if not having a pegging myself, So involve them in chores, and then you will not feel the burden to keep them engaged all the time. Also, I would say provide that opportunity and space for your child to get bored. Boredom leads to creativity. You do not need to keep your child engaged at all times.
Love that.
Child may come screaming to me at 5, 6, and I am bored. I said, good for you. Good to be bored, because now you'll be able to create your. It's good. We do not need to engage them at all times. We do not. Let's not guilt ourselves with, oh my God, my child needs to have some or the other activity happening at all times.
Yeah.
Involve them in your daily life, and then it won't seem like, so overwhelming. Makes sense?
Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And I love the fact that you said that it's okay to let go of that mom guilt. So important, right?
Oh, that mom guilt, you do not have to.
Burden ourselves.
You need to do that to yourself. And sometimes you just need to tell your partner, listen, 1 hour for you. I'm going out having my me time. Cooking is not me time. Taking bath is not me time. I need to get out, go for that walk. I need to get out, do that yoga. Do it. Find that. Don't guilt yourself.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we have one more question. Flashcard versus board books for a 5-month-old. Know your answer.
Definitely. We do have something called as classified pictures. See, sometimes it's not only about the material, it's also how to. Okay. Very important. You may be able to buy all the materials, you may be able to do a DIY of the material, but do you actually know how to offer that the Montessori way? That is also important. So I would totally say board book, and your 5-year-old can flip pages on their own. So why would you do flashcards? And your 5-year-old can read, I'm assuming so.
No, she's sorry, Neha, to interrupt. I think it's 5-month-old baby.
5 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so even a 5-month-old, I would not do flashcards. What I would do is, instead of those flashcards, is we call it the classified pictures in the environment. I would have these pictures and lay them out beautifully, and then show it one by one. And then I would have an object, like let's say if I'm having a card of a lion, so I would also have a small figurine of a lion, Or like if I'm having utensils in the house. If I would not even want to have flashcards of utensils, for God's sake. If I want to fork, spatula, do all of that. But if you have, why flashcards? You don't need flashcards. But board books, definitely. Please do not keep flipping and offering them to your child.
Okay. This one is okay. So what is the basic difference between Montessori and Waldorf?
I knew that was coming. Okay. Well, look, they were researched during a similar time. Okay. Dr. Montessori, quite parallel in terms of giving freedom and following the child and so on and so forth. But Dr. Montessori, being the scientist she was, she connected everything with the real world. Okay. She said there is so much in the real world to offer that I do not want to take my child into fantasy. Okay? Please understand, real world is different from fantasy world. Okay? Whereas in Waldorf, they do take the child into a lot of this. It's a different system where they talk about fairies and gnomes and fantasy world, which works towards creativity, yes, but that does not mean my Montessorian child, whom I'm giving the real world to, is not working towards creativity. Okay. Also, a lot of academic things like writing and reading comes much later in Waldorf as compared to Montessori. In Montessori, nearly my 5-year-old or my 6-year-old is, if not writing, reading, little more. But in Waldorf, they do it much later because the theory says that we offer academics at a much later stage, at maybe at 6 or 7 and 7 years, so on and so forth. So they are a bit more into giving space to the child and following the child. Okay, so that's the major difference. Otherwise, it's all to do with nature. There are wooden materials and connecting the child with the earth and all of that. So all those are similarities.
Right. How beautiful. All right. So I think we've pretty much covered
But
all
for
the
you as a
questions. Yeah,
parent,
sorry.
what I
No,
would say is that I would not say this versus this. I would say what works for you as a parent. You equip yourself with what is out there, and then you decide what is your goal for your child. And then you make a call. I wouldn't say, even traditional, come on, we all loved our teachers, no?
absolutely. Yeah.
We have respect for our teacher. Did we learn any less? No. But they all have their own. So what works important? And then automatically work for your child. Make sense?
Beautifully put. Yeah, so I think pretty much we've covered all the questions. Any moms you all want to ask, like you can unmute yourself on the camera, ask a question if you want. And we've lot of moms, Neha, saying that it was a wonderful session. A lot of thank yous coming in for you.
Just want to thank both Neha and Amrita for this wonderful session. It was really, really good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And
It's
Neha,
thank you so much.
Neha, I think
If
in just like less than an hour of your talk, like not counting the Q&A, you covered so much and so brilliantly.
Thank you very much. And when we get trained, and I recall the words of my trainer saying that, as a parent, as an educator, your role is to spread the magic of Montessori, and that's exactly what we are trying to do. As we are like the torch bearers of Montessori. So this was my idea into your home environment. And if you want to know more, please connect with me at Ananda Montessori, and we could get in touch. And you could, of course, connect with me for your how to bring Montessori at home, and I could help you with my coaching sessions. Or
We have one last question. Can we take, Neha? This is for a 10-year-old, so I'll leave that to you. How can we draw a line with a 10-year-old when we have brought them up in the Montessori way in terms of freedom? I love this question because I have an 8-year-old.
When you say I would need some more, more understanding on draw. What do you mean by draw a line? Okay, but what
okay. Can you just, so I'm not sure who's typing in, but yeah, can you elaborate? I think she means is creating that boundary.
This is Shweta here. What
Hi.
I meant is, hi. I'm sorry, my video is off. Yeah. So what I meant is drawing a line in the sense she's been brought up in a Montessori way. So I want to know where to draw a line. So that's what I meant.
Okay. So look, when you see that the freedom that you're giving the child is, not going to move towards disrespecting the environment or the philosophies or herself, psychologically or physically, it's going to harm her, that's where you stop. So if you feel somewhere she is stagnating in terms of her learning and development, but you put those boundaries in a very respectful manner, not wanting to curb her urge for continuing to learn in that particular area, but redirecting her her learnings. So that is what you would have to do as a parent. Give her that freedom, but also set that boundary where she can continue to respect herself and her family, her environment, her school, and so on and so forth. Make sense? Yes? All right. I see the one last question. There's so much around enrolling babies in playgroup. Wanted to know how does it affect their development if we don't enroll them for the same because of the unprecedented times we are in. Like I said, parents, you are the primary, the home environment is the first learning environment for your child. Okay. And there are some preschool for whatever reasons, maybe or for social development and so on and so forth. But while it is not happening does not mean that your child's development has stagnated and stopped. Okay, so by all means, if for you homeschooling works, go ahead, do it. If midway you feel, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, it's not working, go ahead, put her in the playgroup, follow the child. Okay, I would say that. So, and all right, it depends again on what you want for your child. You can homeschool your child the Montessori way, or you can send your child to Montessori, or you can send your child to a regular preschool and supplement with Montessori at home. What works best for you and your child, that you have to decide.
Amazing, amazing. So thank you so much, Neha, and thank you to each and everyone for being such an amazing audience. I feel this is like a beautiful, like a spiritual, as you said, learning for all of us, and a lot of unlearning too that happened today.
Oh,
So thank you so much, Neha, for that.
Thank you so much for being patient with me, and thank you so much for those very interesting questions. And I hope I could spread some magic of Montessori in your lives today.
Definitely. I think that's a big yes from all of us. So you guys can get in touch with Neha on her IG handle if you guys have any more questions. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered all the questions. So thank you so much, everyone. And here's wishing more such amazing sessions in the future as well.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful. Okay, so somebody's asking your IG handle. Neha, can you just repeat that?
Yes, I will put it up there in the chat.
Yeah.
At I'll put it for all, okay, for everyone.
Yeah, you have to select the everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, that works.
Yes.
All
And
right.
you will also find it on the orange Shumee post, which was there on Shumee Toys page as well. And I would like to thank Shumee for this opportunity, and Amrita as well. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed my evening and connecting with like-minded parents and fellow Montessorians.
It is wonderful. Thank you, and everybody have a beautiful rest of the evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.